Hi, I'm Janna Donovan. I'm an anxiety therapist with an MBA, otherwise known as the Work Stress Guru. In this video, I'd like to talk with you about anxiety and birth order. So often, clients ask me, why am I this way, when we are trying to combat the symptoms of anxiety or panic attacks that can be part of work stress. The symptoms like feeling of dread, increased heart rate, trembling, trouble concentrating, sleep problems, headaches, stomach issues, overworrying, and thoughts that won't leave us alone. So, how in the world could birth order actually play a role in increasing that in those of us who have anxiety? What I'm going to talk about in this video is actually based on a book by Kevin Leman called The Birth Order Book. It's really fascinating. I highly recommend it. So, in conversation with people struggling with anxiety, they speak of multiple projects at work that can't drop, of family members that must be taken care of. They appear to make one important assumption: I'm the one who's supposed to clean up this mess no matter who helps me. And that is most often the thought of a firstborn, as I can notice, and having a front row seat to a lot of people's lives, and noticing this pattern. So many leaders, seek help from books, counselors, fitness trainers for help with anxiety. They want to understand how to handle their stress. A lot of them, my clients who are firstborns, have stressful jobs: CEOs, IT directors, nursing directors, first responders, and financial analysts. But they also want good relationships outside of work. They describe leadership positions that require them to take almost all the responsibility, even when others fail. And after all, they're the leader, and they never think it should be any different. So, in my experience with them and with actually past business colleagues, this is the way an eldest child thinks. The success of this operation falls on me. I must keep grinding away no matter the cost to me personally, because everyone is depending on me. Before they were old enough to know what was going on, their thermostat was set at be mature like your parents. Their adult example is the way you should be. Um, uh, you'll always be noticed and praised for the good that you do. That is the norm. Take care of all these other people that are younger than you, or you're going to get in trouble. Eldest children are taught and have actions modeled for them by adults, so their standards is very high. And they repeatedly and automatically are communicated to them that this is the standard at which you have to perform. So this is the example: when you're the firstborn, you learn how to eat spaghetti from a 30-year-old, and that's your standard for how to eat it. But when you're the secondborn, your standard for eating spaghetti is actually quite lower, and it's as taught to you by a 5-year-old. Eldest children don't intend to have an adult or high standard throughout their childhood. It just happens, and it continues on into adulthood, and they have quite high, unrealistic expectations sometimes. It also makes them great achievers, but it also gives them a lot of work stress. So firstborns grow up, they take on leadership roles. It's a natural progression without much forethought. They more often become CEOs or leaders other than other birth orders. They achieve and take on lots of responsibility personally and professionally. They function at a very high level, leading, supporting, and caring for spouses and siblings and parents and children. And everything goes really well until it doesn't. Stressful work conditions may begin endangering their life. High blood pressure, gastrointestinal issues, obesity, over-consuming alcohol, or something else, like gambling. And these things can come at them in their lives without much warning, and they realize it's a problem. Firstborns may have a serious problem but have no idea how they got there. Their initial thought is that they should just work harder, assert themselves, come see someone like me to address their work stress issues, work out, change jobs, go to yoga, say no to more work, take a vacation, meditate, read a book, or fire a partner. And these can all be effective, but what if you tried them? What if the firstborn has done those things and still can't lower their stress levels? What if we no longer have the energy to try any of these things because of exhaustion? What if they have some success, but then a debilitating work stress returns, even after they've switched jobs, partners, and run a marathon? Well, there are lots of books about this, about birth order, as I mentioned, the birth order book, and there are other ways to deal with stress and anxiety that I do try to give you tips about. But here are four thoughts that and questions that I think could be really good to ask yourself if you've tried these things and they haven't helped, because you might have some automatic assumptions, or the firstborn in your life has them, firstborn, and they are this. Does being mature and being a good person always equal you doing more than your share, the share of the work? Um, a lot of firstborns automatically think that. So they might want to question that assumption. Here's another question. Are you doing the right thing if you are not being noticed, praised, or approved of? If you're doing it in silence and no one is making a big deal about it. So that can be an assumption we make that we might want to question and highlight. Here's the third one. Does taking care of someone else always help them? Our siblings that are in addiction, or a child that can't launch, is it achieving the goal you want it to achieve, or is it kind of hurting them? And the fourth one I would say is, have you or others actually made mistakes and lived to tell about it? Have you gotten through it? Did the people who loved you before the mistake loved you afterwards? Have you seriously received a lot of bad consequences? So this is one you have to be very honest with yourself about. So let me go back through them one more time. Does being mature mean that you always have to take more than your share of work? Can you do the right thing and not be noticed, praised, or approved of, especially by your parents? Does taking care of someone always help? And finally, have you lived through some of the mistakes you've made? So I think if you can question these assumptions, you can actually change your thinking and actually take some of the advice about dealing with work stress, doing less work, unplugging, etc. So I hope you can kind of think about this if you're a firstborn, and if you have any questions or you want to talk with somebody, call, write, or text me. If I'm not licensed in your state, I'll help you find someone who is. I have a website. It's called www.workstress.guru, and I look forward to talking with you. I'm Janna Donovan, the Work Stress Guru. Thanks.